Always nice to chat to him. We were chatting about this earlier about Daniel Radcliffe, because last week on the show, of course, we had Robert Pattinson, and both of those very young actors, Daniel more so, brought in this part of this huge franchise, and then to try and maintain a career afterwards that is removed from what they're known as, quite a difficult thing to achieve.
Yeah, incredibly difficult. And I think, to be honest, neither of them have got a pressing need to work, I'm assuming. They could, easily coast for the next 6, 7, 8 decades. And the fact that they're not doing that is I think, incredibly admirable. I think Pattinson, in fact, you said earlier that Pattinson, it seems to be pursuing directors. He's specifically interested in working with challenging directors. And even if the roles aren't necessarily enormous, the film he's doing with Werner Herzog, I think he's only on screen for a small portion of that film, but he's getting to work with Herzog, so that's a massive thing. And Radcliffe seems to be more chasing roles that are unusual, and I think he's very, very good in these solitary roles like Woman in Black and like Kill Your Darlings, where he has to play this kind of slightly repressed, tamped down character who's kind of marvelling at the craziness around him. In fact, in the same way that he did in Woman in Black. What If is definitely a step away from that, and it does feel very much like the person that you heard giving that interview is basically his character in the film. Very personable, very humble, very down to earth. And I think he's absolutely the best person, the best thing about the film. The premise is, how does a friendship run when there's obviously something more there? It could go further, but it's not allowed to. How does the friendship actually pan out? So Daniel's character, Wallace, meets this girl, Chantry, which is the world's trendiest name. I've never even heard of the Chantry I thought it was some kind of a medieval building, a Chantry, I think, but apparently you can also call girls Chantry. So he meets this girl Chantry, played by Zoe Kazan, at this very cool party. They bond over fridge magnet poetry. That's important, we'll come back to that. But they bond over fridge magnet poetry, and they have great chemistry, and Wallace walks Chantry home, and then she reveals on the doorstep, when he's obviously being expected to be invited up to look at the etchings, no, she's got a boyfriend, and they've not only has she got a boyfriend, but they've been together for 5 years, and he is played by Rafe Spall, and he is some kind of international law whiz. So she's strictly a friend. The relationship can't go any further than that. However, Rafe Spall's character is then whisked off to Dublin to work at some big UN conference, and the two of them are left to schlep around Toronto, hanging out at these trendy bars and talking away to each other, and basically having this relationship that always wants to progress to the next level but can't. I think it's an interesting premise. It's kind of similar to When Harry Met Sally in that idea, can a man and a woman just be friends? And I think Wallace is essentially a very honourable character. His friend, who's played by Adam Driver, is always egging him on, saying, no, you need to kind of move in here, move in for the kill. There's a great scene where actually Adam Driver's character is choosing an engagement ring for his own very kind of tumultuous relationship, where he gives them these 3 possible attack plans to get Chantry for himself. And Wallace's recap is, so basically I have to be either sleazy, conniving or pathetic. And Adam Driver's like, yup, that's how it works. So there are these lovely little moments, and some of it is very much like When Harry Met Sally, and some of it is very much like Judd Apatow. There are big, as he talked about, these kind of improv sounding scenes where they just riff at each other, and they seem to, conversations just wheel off in crazy directions, unexpected directions. So that, again, it makes you think of Judd Apatow films. There's some very Richard Curtis-like moments in that. There's something with Chantry's sister where there's a flirtation. Will something happen there? Will it not happen? Which feels like something from a Richard Curtis film. And again, it's also possibly thanks to Adam Driver being there. It's got that kind of girls, slightly Noah Baumbach-y feel to it as well, being incredibly cool. And around halfway through the film, you realise that you are effectively watching Fridge Magnet Poetry, the movie, and they've taken little elements from here and there, this word's good, this idea's nice, let's have a campfire scene, let's have an airport dash, let's have them go skinny dipping, let's have a heart-to-heart in a diner. And they've assembled these moments side to side, and sometimes it pays off and sometimes it doesn't pay off. And really what kind of keeps the project going is Radcliffe and his intense kind of likeability and personability in this role. So I have to say the film did not do an enormous amount for me personally. I felt possibly, the characters were slightly too young for the roles they were playing. Zoe Kazan as a hotshot animator, Daniel Radcliffe as this guy writing manuals. It feels a little like watching the PG Tips chimps moving a piano. These are not the people that normally do these jobs, and there's a slight kind of a disconnect there. But it's not offensive, it's kind of funny in parts. And as I say, Radcliffe certainly has the charisma to do more of this kind of work.